Hey guys, I'm still crafting and we're having fun. Edward has been working his tail off doing filming for y'all. He's been doing historical markers and pizza places, and he is having a good time here in Scottsboro, Alabama, and in the surrounding area. I think he's even gone as far as Chattanooga a time or two again. So stay tuned. Enjoy what he's been working on. I know I'm going to, and I get a chance to watch it. And I'm going to keep enjoying playing with paper and enjoying fellowshipping with the ladies here in my craft retreat. So stay tuned. Keep watching.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Historical Markers. In this episode, we're in Franklin County, Tennessee, and this episode we're looking at all the markers that are kind of outside of the Winchester area. So let's see what kind of markers we can find in this area. I know there's some about the college and some about some other things in various areas. So let's see what we can find out.
All right, we are in Franklin County, Tennessee, and this marker is for John Ruch. Lived here. He came to Franklin County in 1872 from Ohio. In 1892, with the aid of J.B. Killebrew, agricultural agent of the North Carolina and St. Louis Railroad and former state commissioner of agriculture, he imported from France the first crimson clover seed, thereby founding a new industry and adding materially to the economy of the region. Okay, we are in Franklin County, Tennessee, and this marker is for Polly Finlay Crockett. David Crockett, his first wife, and their children settled on a homestead a few miles east about 1813. She died in 1815 following her husband's return from the Creek War. She is buried in an old cemetery overlooking Beans Creek about 5 miles about 5 miles southeast.
We're in Cowan, Tennessee, and this is the Railroad Museum. There's several markers in this area, and so we're going to take a look at the different markers here. It is closed today. It's only open on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's some interesting train cars here. So it looks like it would be a very interesting place to visit when the museum is open. But let's take a look at the various markers in this area. And this marker is for the Cowan Railroad Museum. It was built in 1904. The Cowan Railroad Depot handled travelers bound for Nashville and Chattanooga, as well as Sewanee and the Cumberland Plateau, until it closed in 1971. In 1976, the depot was moved from Tennessee Avenue to its present location, now housing the Cowan Railroad Museum. There's a little park here in Cowan. First of all, there's a little sign about the Cumberland Mountain Tunnel, built by Nashville and Chattanooga Railroad, 1849 to 1852, the length of 2,228 feet. But the marker we're actually looking for is right here. This is Cowan, Tennessee. Named in honor of Major John Cowan, early pioneer settler. Major William Russell first settled here in 1800, his home serving as the first courthouse from 1807 to 1814. And then in 1848 to 1854, the N&C Railroad constructed the world's longest tunnel and steepest grade railroad. In 1855, 9-mile spur line to the Sewanee Mountain was completed by the Sewanee Mining Company. Then in 1863 to 1864, the Confederate and Federal armies camped in Cowan. Failure of Confederate forces to destroy the tunnel provided General Sherman with a direct line of supply for his march through Georgia. And then in behind this is a little building which was Franklin County's first courthouse and the home of Major William Russell. It was reconstructed by the Cowan Bell in April of 1975. Just a nice little park area. This marker is passing through Cowan, the Cumberland Mountain Tunnel, Tullahoma Campaign, and when the Union Army outflanked Confederate General Braxton Bragg's army at Tullahoma in June of 1863, Bragg ordered a retreat south. On July 2nd, Confederate units arrived in Cowan. Bragg considered forming a defensive perimeter along the Cumberland Plateau to maintain possession of the Cumberland Mountain Tunnel southeast down the track, since whoever controlled the tunnel controlled the vital Nashville and Chattanooga Railroad. The pace of the Union advance, however, convinced Bragg to keep moving to Chattanooga. He considered blowing up the tunnel, but there was not enough explosives available. And if you want to read the rest of this, lots of good information here. Picture of the tunnel. And it shows a map here of the different directions. This marker's for the Tullahoma Campaign, and it starts here with Anatomy of Campaign. It's from June 24th to July 4th, 1863. And let's scroll down. It shows the evening of July the 2nd and the advance to Manchester. And then at the bottom is a timeline. You can pause and see what happened in the various years leading up to this campaign. This is a continuation of the Tullahoma Campaign, June 24th to July 4th, 1863. This talks about Philip Henry Sheridan and Sheridan's division. And then we go on down and it talks about a railroad war. So you can pause and read all about the Railroad War. This marker is for Camp Harris. Here was one of the earlier training camps of the Confederacy. Units training here included the 1st Tennessee Infantry, Manny, and 17th Tennessee Infantry, Newman. The area covering the former mill settlement of Allisonia was heavily fortified to protect highway and railroad bridges over Elk River. General Braxton Bragg, commanding the Army of Tennessee in 1863, established his command post here briefly in his withdrawal to the Chattanooga area in June. Traces of fortification remained. And there's kind of an empty field here, so I'm assuming this may be part of the area where the camp is located.
Hunter's Grocery's new brick building was constructed in 1918 by J.H. Hunter after his old wood frame store, and a large part of the town of Huntland was destroyed by fire on August 9, 1917. The store provided grocery items not only for Huntland, but also for Paint Rock Valley in Jackson County, Alabama. Lore has it beer and sugar were sold by pickup truckloads for residents and moonshine stills of Paint Rock Valley. The son of J.H. Hunter, Hunter Jr., known as Red Buck, took over Hunter's Grocery from his father in the 1940s. Continuing to the next slide. Hunter's Grocery became a place for farmers to enjoy a beer while waiting for their wagons full of cotton to be unloaded at the Huntland Cotton Gin. Hunter Jr. served as the local road commissioner from 1952 to 1986. Later, the new highway to Huntsville was named in his honor. Hunter's Grocery was sold in July 2016 to new owners who In honor of J.H. Hunter Jr., Redbuck changed the name to Redbucks. Hunter's Grocery, Redbucks, celebrated its centennial anniversary on October 6, 2018. And there you can see the new sign. Huntland, Tennessee, Veterans Memorial. The town of Huntland proudly dedicates this memorial to the brave men and women of our military who unselfishly took the oath to protect at all costs our country, our Constitution, and our freedom. Dedicated December 7th, 2016. We are still in Franklin County, Tennessee. This marker is for Jesse Bean, the first permanent settler in what later became Franklin County. He established a forge and gunsmith shop in a cave on Caney Hollow Branch, about 3 miles north, shortly after 1800. A gunsmith of great ability, his 45-inch long rifles became famous throughout the pioneer country.
So the Army of Tennessee, July 4th, 1863. Here, and extending 2 miles southwest, occurred the last battle of the Middle Tennessee Campaign. Protecting Bragg's withdrawal, Major General Joseph Wheeler with the Texas Rangers and the 4th Tennessee Cavalry repulsed an attack by the 5th and 6th Kentucky Cavalry under Colonel Lewis Watkins, screening the advance of Rosecrans' Union forces. This is the desegregation of Franklin County Public Schools. 9 years after Brown versus the Board of Education, 8 local families initiated a lawsuit to compel Franklin County to desegregate the public school system. The plaintiffs included the Bates, Cameron, Camp, Goodstein, Hill, Sisk, Staton, and Turner families. They were represented by Nashville attorney Z. Alexander Luby and Jack Greenberg, Constance Baker Motley, and James M. Nabrit of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. The case was successful, and in 1964, the U.S. District Court issued an order to desegregate the schools. This lawsuit was notable in that it involved both white and African American plaintiffs. The Sewanee community raised funds to add 4 new classrooms to the Sewanee Public School located at this site, thus eliminating the argument that there was insufficient space to educate all of the community's children together. Additionally, during the summer of 1964, Sewanee residents offered tutoring across the street at Otay Parish. This effort countered a second argument that African American children would not be adequately prepared to join their white classmates. And I'm assuming that this is the school. And if it is, it appears to still be in use today. This marker says EQB, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Esse Quam Bonum. Behold, how good and pleasant it is when kindred live together in unity. Psalms 133:1. It's the university motto. Rebels Rest. Here before the war between the states stood the frame residence of Bishop Leonidas Polk of Louisiana, a principal founder of the University of the South. Here were built in 1866 the first 2 log cabins of post-war Sewanee by Bishop Charles T. Quintard and Major George R. Fairbanks. In the latter were held the meeting of the trustees in 1866 and founding of the EQB Club in 1870. Saints Rest. At this site stands Saints Rest, among the 3 oldest remaining houses in Sewanee, erected in 1870 by Charlotte Bull Barnwell Elliott, widow of a founding Episcopal bishop from Georgia, Stephen Elliott. It was part of the post-war revival of the university. A pre-Civil War cabin on this site was the writing studio of Sarah Barnwell Elliott, Tennessee suffragist. Saints Rest echoes the name of Rebels Rest, which stood from 1866 to 2014 north of this site. The cottage next door, Sinner's Hope, suggests that the delight in house naming among Sewanee residence. And here is the house that's beside this sign. This marker is University of the South, founded January 6, 1858, under charter granting perpetual direction by the Episcopal Church in Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas. Nearby, Leonidas Polk, Bishop of Louisiana, later Lieutenant General CSA, laid the cornerstone for the central building. October 10, 1860, it was destroyed by federal troops in July of 1863. It says here, along this pathway is the site of the original cornerstone of the University of the South, which was dedicated on October 10th of 1860. This marker is for Allan Gipson, 1804 to 1896. Allan Gipson, a pioneer settler of Franklin County in 1814, was a merchant, planter, and original benefactor to the University of the South. He donated a large tract to the Sewanee domain. Gipson served as a private in the Tennessee Mounted Infantry from 1837 to 1838 during the Indian removal. His son, Andrew, lived here at Gipson's Switch farming, mining, and servicing the coal trains. Gipson's Switch is where the University of the South trustees detrained in 1857. Well, that was another episode of Historical Markers. I hope you enjoyed looking at Franklin County, Tennessee. If you like what you see, like, subscribe, and send us notes telling us, did we do something wrong? Are we missing something? What would you like to see? So just let us know what you'd like to see.